Hey everyone, welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. Today's Wednesday, December 4th. Because it's a Wednesday, that means it's time for Midweek Motivation. This is the video every week where I give you a pep talk or some tough love or a kick in the butt if you guys need it. While I work, you get to watch me work, you get a motivational talk. Hopefully you brought some work with you. Everybody's multitasking and everybody's getting stuff done whilst we're getting motivated. Today, I'm actually going to talk about goals and how specifically to set realistic goals. This is the time of year where I'm going to be doing a ton of videos on setting up bullet journals and planners, looking back at the goals from 2024, setting your goals for 2025. I'll probably be doing some menu planning and some budgeting and just all of those good things that come at the end of the year whenever you're looking forward to planning for the new year. I do not believe in New Year's resolutions. Longtime viewers, you've heard me say that every year. I do not believe in resolutions. I think resolutions are absolutely a way to set yourself up for failure. Everyone makes resolutions every year, and by the second week of January, nobody's doing these resolutions, or we've already all failed. Additionally, I think resolutions put folks into a weird kind of state of mind to where you can just put things off until the new year, and I don't like that. I think every day, every morning when you wake up is an opportunity for you to start something new, to set new goals, to start exercising, start that diet, start going on walks, whatever it is you want to do, start making your bed. Every morning is an opportunity to start something new and to change things. You don't have to wait for Monday or a new week. You don't have to wait for a new month, a new quarter, or a new year. And that's why I don't like resolutions. They kind of put people in a mindset that you can just keep being complacent until it's time to make resolutions every December. And I don't like that. You've also heard me say 1,333 times that when you're setting goals, don't be lofty. Do not set yourself up for disaster. Do not set yourself up to not succeed. Not succeeding or being able to reach your goals is pretty disheartening, and I don't want anybody to feel that way. I want you to set goals that are realistic for you. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone's family and life is different. Your bills are not my bills, so I don't know what your situation is, but you need to set goals for yourself that you can achieve. Just because somebody else is doing 50 listings a day doesn't mean that that's feasible for you. But just because somebody is only able to do 5 or 10 a day doesn't mean that you can't do more. You have to decide what's right for you. But don't set yourself up to fall. Choose goals that are going to be reliable and realistic for you to reach. So we're going to go into this in a little more depth today. This might be a little bit longer than my usual midweek motivation videos, but this is an important one because we're going to talk about goals. And before you know it, it's going to be January and we should have goals in place. No, I don't believe in resolutions, but I do believe in goals. And it is a new year, so you have to set goals for your business that you want to reach in 2025. Hopefully most of those are for growth. Why realistic goals matter. They give you clarity and focus. Goals act as a roadmap. So without goals, you're kind of just driving without a destination, and that's the same thing with routines and priorities and all of the other things I teach you guys. Having goals and routines in place gives you that roadmap, so you're not just driving around aimlessly every day. Goals also give you a way to ensure that every decision you make is moving you closer to where you want to be. Realistic goals matter because they give you motivation and confidence. Achieving small, realistic goals gives you a sense of accomplishment. So it will build your confidence and motivate you to tackle the next challenge. And realistic goals will help you avoid burnout. Setting goals that are too lofty can lead to frustration and burnout. When we don't meet our goals, it is very easy to get discouraged and distracted. Realistic goals will help you avoid feeling overwhelmed and ensure that you maintain a healthy work-life balance. So how do you set realistic goals? Well, you want to start with your big picture vision. What do you want to achieve in your reselling business in the long run? What's your overall big goal for 2025? Do you want to make this your full-time job? Do you want to get up to an X amount of active listings? Do you want to start cross-posting? Do you want to create a passive income stream? It is essential to know the overall big picture end goal. But here's the key. Don't stop there. You have to break that vision down into smaller, more manageable pieces. How do you eat a hippo? One bite at a time. So I did a little bit of research and I came up with this SMART framework that a lot of folks are talking about. It's apparently a proven method for creating goals that are clear and achievable. And here's what SMART stands for. Specific. So be as clear as possible about what you want to achieve. And so instead of just saying, my goal for 2025 is to increase sales, you would say, I want to increase sales on eBay by 20%, or I want to increase sales on Poshmark by 10%, or I want to increase my overall volume of sales. So that's the S, that's specific. The M in SMART is for measurable. Can you track your progress? You want your goals to be measurable. You want a way to be able to tell if you're on the right track. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So setting numbers or tangible steps along the way allows you to track that success. The A is for achievable. They should be challenging, but achievable. We're back to that lofty discussion, but it's so super important. But you also want to be challenged. So don't make your goals too low and don't make them too lofty. If you're listing 10 items a day, maybe you could do 15. Maybe you could do 20. But saying I'm going to go from 10 a day to 100 a day is absolutely not realistic at all. R is for relevant. Ensure that your goals are aligned with your business plan. Don't focus on anyone else. Don't look at anyone else's business or what they're doing, because again, your life, your family, your business is different than everyone else. And so what's relevant to you and your goals is not going to be what's relevant to me or to Johnny or Karen. You have to decide what's relevant for you. What does your life look like, your business, your bills? Do not get caught up in comparing yourself to others or competing with others. That's another thing I say approximately 5,333 times a year because it's so important. And the T is for time bound. So you want a clear deadline. If we're going to say this is an overall growth goal for 2025, you can say your deadline's next December. But you could also have several big goals and break them into quarters, first, second, third, and fourth quarters. You have to decide this for yourself. As an example, one of our goals, Keith and I, for 2024 was to grow our eBay active listings up to 4,000. And we gave ourselves a deadline until like June. We actually hit it a little early, so we upped it. We now have just over 5,000 active listings. So you can be flexible too, right? So again, that SMART is for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. When you have a time set, you keep yourself from procrastinating. So you got to break down your goals. Once you get them down, once you get them written down, once you decide what you're going to do, you got to break them down into smaller chunks. You can't go from 1,000 active listings on eBay to 4,000 overnight. You've got to have a clear plan in place. I'm going to list 15 a day. I'm going to list 20 a day. I'm going to increase. Maybe I'll schedule more on the weekends. You got to have some kind of a plan. So just write down by quarter, by month, by week, by day, however you want to break it down into smaller chunks. And this is also going to depend on what your overall goal is. If your overall goal is to increase sales by a certain percentage, then maybe you want to make that like a monthly goal. But if it's to list more, that would be a daily goal. So however you need to break it down. And again, I cannot express how important this is. Your life is not my life. So what I can do in a day is more than some, but less than others. You got to do what's best for you. Now we're going to talk a little bit about flexibility. It is very critical that we all set these realistic goals. Let's not be lofty, but let's challenge ourselves. Don't just list 5 a day and then watch Netflix for 6 hours, right? You want to challenge yourself. But it's also equally important to stay flexible. Like I just mentioned, when List Perfectly released some new tools this year, like their AI and their Express Lister, we found it to be much easier to list more each day. So Keith and I said, instead of 4,000, let's do 5 because this is easier than we thought it was going to be. Had it been a struggle, or had we started spinning our wheels, which is what happens sometimes when you're listing a lot more, you'll be selling a lot more, and you kind of hit a plateau and can't grow. Had that happened, we would have been flexible and moved our deadline from June up to like maybe September. The reselling landscape is always changing, and so is your life. So you have to be willing to pivot. If something's too easy, make it more challenging. If something's too challenging, take a step back and take smaller bites. If something in your life changes that allows you to spend more time on your reselling business, take advantage of that. If something in your life or your family changes that makes you take a step back, family is always first. Unexpected challenges are going to arise. And sometimes good challenges arise. They're not challenges, but sometimes good things, like the List Perfectly Express Lister, which enables us to list more now. Trends are going to change. Market conditions shift. The economy can play into it. What's accessible to you to source. All of these things can play into it. Macari threw us a big curveball this year when they changed their fee structure. Then Poshmark changed their fee structure and then changed it back. Like, so many different things can change in the reselling world. Technology is wonderful until it isn't. You could have a day where you don't have internet. You could have a hurricane or a snowstorm. There's so many variables and things that happen outside of our control, which is why it's important to be flexible and have those routines in place, because you're able to keep going forward. I'm going to give you an example on that as well. There was a couple of days this summer in 2024, where our air conditioning was broken and it was really hot. I know if you live in Arizona, you're like, hold my beer. Pennsylvania is not hot, but it does get really hot here. We have all 4 very distinct seasons, and our summers can push 100 degrees and it can be very humid. And it was really hot, and the air conditioning HVAC guy that came out didn't have the part. So it was going to be a couple of days. So what we did, we packed our laptops up and we went to Starbucks one day, I believe, and then the library, but we were able to travel with our laptops and work elsewhere where they had air conditioning. So always be willing to be flexible and have those backup plans in place. And then just realize sometimes there's going to be times where maybe you could have 10 backup plans and it's just not going to happen. And you're just going to have to suck it up and take a day off to deal with stuff. Sometimes life is out of our control and we just have to accept that. But just remember that goals are there to guide you, but they're not a rigid rule book. You can always change them if you need to. You need to stay accountable and you need to track your progress. Now, staying accountable can look different for everyone. Some folks can just write it on a piece of paper or a whiteboard in their office. Some people need to verbally tell other people. Some people need to make announcements on social media or join groups. None of that is wrong. Everyone has like a different personality and a different work ethic and a different type. Like I'm type A, right? So I can probably just write down my bullet journal. I'll hold myself accountable. That's not wrong nor right. If you're the type of person who needs to be in a group of 10 people who are reminding you each morning what you said you were going to do, that's okay too. But just understand who you are and know what type of person you are so that you can do what you need to do to be held accountable. I will say that saying it out loud is best. Once you've told other people that you plan on doing something, you kind of have to do it, right? And don't forget to track your progress. It's really easy to get off track if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. Accountability is key to meeting your goals. So you want to do regular check-ins, whether it's with yourself or a group of friends. You can use tools, spreadsheets, pieces of paper, a dry erase board, a cork board, whatever you need. Some people are more visual than others. But don't forget to celebrate your wins. So every time you meet one of those smaller steps along the way to your larger goal, celebrate it. Acknowledge it. Tell your friends, make a post on Instagram, make a video of you dancing for TikTok, whatever you want to do, but make sure you celebrate it. Eat an M&M, eat a bag of chips, a small bag, like the snack size. Go for a walk, but celebrate. Always reward yourself. Always reward yourself when you do a good job or when you reach a goal. No matter how small your milestones are, when you reach them, you need to celebrate them to keep yourself flowing with that successful feeling and that momentum. Setting realistic goals is one of the most powerful things we can do as self-employed resellers. We don't have a time clock. We don't have a boss. We have nobody telling us what to do every day except for ourselves. So you need to have those goals and you need to have those routines. And we'll talk more about routines. But these are all things that you could put in place that will help you. This is powerful because you need to be your own boss and you need to tell yourself to work. Goals give you focus, direction, and the motivation to continue on, even when you're discouraged or the summer slowdown or whatever happens. But also keep in mind, and I've mentioned this, but it bears repeating, realistic goals aren't about aiming low and making it easy for yourself. You still want to challenge yourself. Realistic goals are about understanding where you are, where your business is, what your life looks like, what you have time for, and setting yourself up for that success. I think people really thrive every time they set a goal and they achieve it. Think about that on a small scale. If you make a to-do list in a planner every day or even on your phone, every time you cross one of those items off or check them off that you accomplished it, doesn't that feel so good? I'll be honest. Sometimes I do extra things during the day that I didn't have in my planner, and I will go write them down and cross them off because I want to see all the things I did that day, and I like to cross things off. My gosh, it makes me feel so accomplished. Setting goals ensures that you're going to stay on track. You're going to keep busy and do the things you need to do so that you can continue to grow and evolve. And even if you're in a maintain mode, if your business is as big as you want it to be and you're not trying to go into growth mode or get bigger, you still have to do things to maintain, and goals will help you do that as well. I'm really excited for 2025. I can't wait to do my video series on goals and talking to you guys about what you plan to accomplish. And then we'll do a couple of check-ins next year, just like we did this year. So start thinking now. I did a video last weekend about looking back at your 2024 goals so we can move forward to 2025. I'll have that pop up. If you haven't watched it, please do so we can start getting into that mindset. Go be productive, go make some money. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you really listened to this one and took something to heart. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.